This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your source for the latest Iowa ag news headlines right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, Mark Magnuson, and Andy Peterson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Riley.
Good day and welcome to Ag Matters PM on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Riley Smith. Today is Wednesday, June 4th of 2025. Is the first day of the World Pork Expo here at the Iowa State Fairgrounds in Des Moines. We're so glad you can join us for today's show. In today's episode, I talk with Chris Ford of Farm Credit Services of America about the financial advice and options that they have for swine producers here in Iowa. We'll also have a check of the closing markets with Kenan Layden of agmarket.net. First off, here's that conversation with Chris Ford about just how to handle your financials in the swine industry. Here with Chris Ford of Farm Credit Services of America, and we're at World Pork Expo in Des Moines at the Iowa State Fairgrounds. Chris, great talking with you again. When it comes to the current economic climate for swine producers, especially here in the state of Iowa, what are some of the things they're dealing with right now?
Yeah, so I mean, it's been a tale of the last 24 months. We've gone through one of the worst downturns in the swine industry that we've seen probably in the last 30 or 40 years. And so as we've kind of come out of that with lower feed costs, corn, soybean meal, and we see production kind of getting itself back straightened out, guys are really optimistic about what 25 is going to give us. First half has been very successful, and I would say the second half there's a lot of cautious optimism as we continue forward. So guys are thinking very positively as we go through 25.
So even with a more positive economic outlook, there's still plenty of things to do to kind of keep your business well protected, you're running things the right way.
Yeah.
When it comes to some of those things to kind of look out for, even in times of positivity, what are some of the things that you encourage those swine producers to still be thinking about, even if things are good?
Yeah, I think one of the three things that I think are the most important in this industry is to continue to have good books, have good financial acumen, know your cost of production as you kind of go through this, because you can make better decisions as you kind of go through. I think the second thing is risk management. There's a lot of tools out there. We think about using the board, using the insurance products, finding folks that are around you to help consult and make good decisions. And then again, I think third thing is just making sure that we're adhering to the best and highest technology around biosecurity, because production is going to be key as we go through. So those are probably the three biggest things that I encourage guys to continue to focus on going forward.
And I know with farm credit, a lot of people are initially thinking row crop when they're talking about getting involved there, but like you've mentioned many times before, there's a dedicated swine team that is fully invested in what's been going on in the swine industry.
100%. So we have a team of folks, both underwriters, closers, and relationship managers that specifically work in just the swine industry. So we understand the industry. We work with 28 of the top 40 producers in the nation, so we get a great perspective of not just Iowa, but we also can bring some of that nationwide perspective back to our Iowa producers to kind of give them ideas around what you're doing well, what are some areas maybe you can improve on. So by having that expertise, we work in swine every day. And again, it's the same with our beef, our poultry, swine. We have those experts in our company to help guys navigate the waters.
All right, Chris, lots of great information. Anything else when it comes to swine producers, especially here in the state of Iowa, that they can work with Farm Credit and kind of make sure to keep that relationship going?
Yeah, again, if you're looking for someone that understands your industry, both the highs and the lows, I think it's important that you seek somebody out Farm Credit. We understand that. We have a loan structure that we can provide a lot of different financing packages, and then we also have our Passionate program that we're very proud to offer guys 1% back every year. So it's been good working in the industry, and we're excited to be here in the long term.
And if anyone wants to get in touch with Farm Credit and learn more about that, how can they do that?
Yeah, farmcreditservicesamerica.com is going to be the best resource to reach out. And then, like I said, on our website, you can find a lender or find someone in your local retail office that can get you directed in the right place.
That again was Chris Ford of Farm Credit Services of America. We'll take a look at the closing markets next, but first, here's a word from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net.
At the end of another day in the ag marketplace, and welcome back to Ag Matters PM on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Riley Smith, talking now with Kenan Layden of agmarket.net. Of course, we are reporting here from World Pork Expo in Des Moines at the Iowa State Fairgrounds. First off, Kenan, tell us a little bit about the grain markets today and what's been going on.
Yeah, it was a good day in the grain markets today. Gave back a little bit today, so opened up quite a bit higher. I think July was 5 cents higher this morning. Came back, and last I looked, it was trading pretty close to even. So gave back some of the gains. I know this morning one of the weather runs from the GFS, not the ensemble, but the other one was a little drier. So I'll be interested to look at the weather runs tonight. Maybe that has something to do with it. Also, the soybeans were up larger, and they closed a little bit softer on the day, still up. And then wheat was maybe a leader today, moving into the end of the day. Today is the deadline for trade proposals to the White House. Their June 4th deadline for tariffs, and they're going to consider their trade proposals, and then more tariff news in July for this market to trade.
And then, of course, we're in that weather market right now as well. You mentioned that a little bit of the conditions weighing in on that. Currently, right now, we've seen some pretty okay rains, at least in Iowa. I know other parts of the Midwest are a little dry as well. Overall, what are we seeing for that weather outlook, and how is that weighing in on the markets?
Yeah, I would say if you took the weather overall, it's been great. Up here in the northwestern plains, we got a lot of rain in needed areas. Iowa was a little dry subsoil, and like you said, they got hit earlier this year with that winter wheat crop when Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas were drier. They got rainstorms, and now maybe that wheat market, it was too much rain be coming in on some of those more mature crops in the east and the west, those winter wheat crops that may lead to some quality issues, and that might be putting a little premium in the market. But overall, the weather's been really good. So until the weather forecasts turn drier, if they do and they verify, it's hard for this market to sustain any type of rally, like you said.
And then over in the livestock markets, of course, at World Pork Expo, we're checking in very closely on the hog marketplace, which is looking pretty good for most of the producers there. Kenan, as far as both cattle and hogs, how are we looking?
Yeah, since you're at the Pork Expo, I usually start with cattle, but I'll start with hogs. So hogs are trading really interestingly. So like that June to July and that June to August, that carry in that market is really wide. I read it's the widest it's been since 2014 with some of those PRRS flare-ups we had back then. And then some rumors and rumblings of PRRS again. So good prices that seem enticing to hedge, but it's hard to hedge if you're going to have another outbreak or something of that nature for those markets. Cattle, cash is king still. Every time the cattle market seems to break, cash moves higher, and cash is trading at a premium to the board right now. So the board has to come up or cash has to come down. And the last few months, it's been the former, not the latter.
All right, Kenan, lots of great information today. For anyone who would like to get in touch with agmarket.net for more analysis, how can they do that?
Yeah, check us out on the web at agmarket.net and check out some of our market information and look for a broker in your area.
All right, Kenan, we appreciate the information as always, and we'll talk again soon.
Thanks, Riley.
That again was Kenan Layden of agmarket.net. We'll take a look at how the numbers close through the market window at iowaagnet.com. July corn up 1/4 cent at 4.38 3/4. July soybeans up 4 1/4 at 10.45 even. July soybean meal up 2.60 at 2.97.10. Soybean oil went unchanged at 46.81. Chicago wheat up 7 1/4 at 5.43 1/4. Kansas City hard red wheat up 3 3/4 at 5.40 1/2. Minneapolis spring wheat up 5 1/2 at 6.23 1/2. July oats up 3 even at 3.87 3/4. On the Merc, June live cattle up 2.42 at 2.18.40. August feeders up 2.65 at 3.03.87. June lean hogs down 25 cents at $99.97. Pork cutout up $1.10 at $107.97. And June Class 3 milk up 7 cents at $18.77. And that's been a check of the markets here on Ag Matters PM. That also brings us to the end of today's show. You can find all of our content on our website at iowaagnet.com. Also follow us on social media at Facebook, X, LinkedIn, and TikTok, and find our video content as well as previous episodes of AM PM on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to see when those videos go live. Check out as well our free morning, midday, and closing market podcasts, as well as the Iowa Ag Matters podcast and Pods of Potential. Find those on your favorite podcasting services at Apple, Amazon, Spotify, and Podbean, or once again on our website at iowaagnet.com under the podcast tab. From the Iowa State Fairgrounds here in Des Moines, I'm Riley Smith. On behalf of Mark Magnuson, Andy Peterson, and Dustin Huffman, we thank you for watching today. This has been Ag Matters PM.